The National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, clarifies that if information technology equipment is listed and the cord is part of that listing, it is acceptable to run the cord below the raised floor in an information technology equipment room. This is because the cord is not considered premises wiring and, therefore, does not have to meet the requirements outlined in Section 645.5d of the National Electrical Code, or NEC. There might be a perception of contradiction with Section 400.80 of the NEC, which generally prohibits cords and cables from being installed below a raised floor. However, this prohibition does not extend to cords that are a component of a listed information technology equipment assembly. To illustrate, if a plug strip is under Writers Laboratories, or UL, listed as information technology equipment, the cord extending from the plug strip to the receptacle is permitted to be installed below the raised floor without requiring a data processing, or DP, rating. Section 400.8 does not restrict cords through penetrations below a raised floor in an information technology equipment room because penetrations are considered openings as per NFPA 75-2003 standard for the protection of information technology equipment, not holes. Also, a raised floor is not considered a structural floor, but rather a platform with removable panels where equipment is installed. The intervening space between the raised floor and the main building floor is used to house interconnecting cables and, at times, to supply conditioned air to the information technology equipment and the room. When evaluating the flame resistance of the cord from a listed piece of information technology equipment, it is advisable to consult with the product manufacturer regarding the cord's outer covering. Specifically, the cord's performance in either the ANSI/UL 1580-2001 vertical tray flame test, or the CSA C22.2 number 0.3M-2001 vertical flame test. Of the test methods for electrical wire and cable should be evaluated. If there is still a concern about the cord and its products of combustion, the branch circuit wiring could be extended above the raised floor through a wiring method as permitted in 645.5d2, which includes some non-metallic wiring methods. Typically, a cord is used to connect the listed information technology equipment to the branch circuit wiring. It is generally desirable to keep the amount of plastic and other combustible material under a raised floor at a minimum. Keeping interconnecting cable length at a minimum is not always an option, since longer cables to interconnect information technology equipment in the area may be needed. Cables having higher fire resistance, such as cable type DP and others passing the fire resistance tests indicated in the fine print note after 645.5d5, are used. Referencing NFPA 75-2003 standard for the protection of information technology equipment for requirements for automatic detection systems for this raised floor application is also advised. The detection system selection process should evaluate the ambient environmental conditions in determining the appropriate device, location, and sensitivity. In high airflow environments, air sampling detection devices should be considered. Now let's break down the applicable NEC sections and their relevance. Section 645.4 mandates specific conditions for information technology equipment rooms to qualify for the allowances within Article 645. These conditions primarily address fire safety and disconnection capabilities. Compliance with 645.4 is a prerequisite for applying the flexibilities offered in subsequent sections, including those pertaining to wiring methods. Section 645.5b addresses power cords and cables. It permits flexible cords and cables under raised floors subject to length limitations and proper use. Cords must be appropriate for the environment and not create hazards. This section acknowledges the use of cords for connecting equipment to power sources within the information technology equipment room. Section 645.5d delves into the wiring methods permitted below raised floors. It outlines specific wiring types and installation practices allowed for both branch circuit serving receptacles and for interconnecting cables. This section emphasizes the importance of fire resistance and proper cable management to minimize risks in the underfloor space. The requirements of 645.5d are in addition to the general wiring requirements found elsewhere in the NEC. For example, 645.5D2 specifically addresses acceptable wiring methods for the branch circuit below the raised floor that serves the receptacle. These methods include options like metal-clad cable, electrical metallic tubing, and rigid metal conduit, providing a variety of suitable choices for powering the equipment. Then there is 645.5D5, which identifies special cables permitted below the raised floor. These cables typically encompass communication or control-type cables, but can also include special interconnecting cables manufactured before 1994. This provision recognizes the unique cabling needs within an information technology equipment room beyond just power circuits.